Okay, so let's talk a little bit about our last lesson. So in our last lesson, we talked about how to make arrangements and invitations. So here you can invite people, you can arrange plans. So we talked about that. And we also saw the conversation that happened between Juliet and Carol, where they arranged to have a dinner. And we also listened to Matt and Ben. They also they arranged to have a drink at the Red Lion. So we listened to the conversation. We talked about the intonation, and we agreed that you need to sound interested by changing how your voice goes up and down. This will affect how the listener perceives your talking. Does it sound interesting or not? This all depends on if your voice goes up and down. So we talked about that. We also talked about Kevin and Matt's conversation. So we made a conversation here where Matt invites Kevin. So we used all of the expressions, not all of them, but most of them, to ask about people's arrangements, to invite them, and also to answer by saying yes or no. You know, you can also arrange a time or place for your meeting. So we talked about that. And the final thing we talked about, the last thing we talked about in our last lesson was the different vowel sounds. So we have 3 different long vowel sounds. We have the like earth, journey. We have the like cards, start, calm. It's an sound. And then we have the small, small, record, talk. It's an kind of sound. So we talked about these 3 different vowel sounds. We practiced them. We read the sentences. And we're going to talk about today's topic. So in today's topic, we will discuss the passive tense. So I'll tell you what the passive tense is. But first of all, there are a few questions. It says here, what were the last 3 things you bought? Not food or drink, and where did you buy them? So Selma, can you tell us the last 3 things you bought? But don't talk about food or you know, drinks or chocolate or I don't know, anything that you can eat or drink. Don't include it. Just talk about other things that you bought. What are the last 3 things you bought, Selma?
Sunglasses
Sunglasses, okay.
and phone cover
A phone cover, okay.
and also,
What else? Sunglasses, phone cover, anything else?
notebook.
A notebook, all right. But have you ever bought anything online before?
Yeah,
Yes, you've bought before online.
yes,
Have you sold something online before, or only bought?
no, only book.
Okay, but where did you buy from? Amazon, eBay, or Libyan websites on Facebook?
Yeah, and Facebook.
Okay, all right. Mm. But what did you buy online?
I buy shoes.
You bought shoes.
Yeah,
Did you like them? Did they
yeah,
fit? Did they fit well?
yeah.
Okay, all right, interesting. What about you, Rashid? Can you remember the last 3 things you bought? Something that's not food or drink.
pencils
Pencils,
and
okay.
notebooks.
A notebook. And what else?
السلام عليكم.
Walaikum salam. Hello, Sophia. How are you?
Fine.
All right, good. What else, Rashid? So notebook, pencils, nothing else?
I don't remember.
You don't remember. But what about online? Have you ever bought anything online?
Yes.
Yes? What did you buy online?
I bought a watch.
You bought a watch. And where did you buy it from? Also from Facebook or from maybe Amazon or eBay?
No, from Facebook.
From Facebook. Was it a Libyan page?
Yes.
And did you like the watch? Was it the same you saw in the photo?
No, not really the same.
So you think the photo looked better than the real watch?
Yes.
But was it expensive or was the price normal?
Normal.
Normal price. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you recommend people to buy online? Would you recommend others to buy online, or do you think it's not a very good idea?
No, it's a good idea.
So because you want them to get things which are different from the photo, like you. You want them to have the same experience.
No. Not really different, but
But you feel it's not the same.
yes. But it's good quality and nice price.
That's good. As long as the quality is okay, the price is okay, then I think it's okay. Have you sold anything online before? Have you sold something online?
No,
No,
didn't.
you've never sold anything online. Okay, interesting. What about you, Samiha? Have you ever bought or sold anything online?
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. So here we're curious. First of all, we want to know what were the last 3 things you bought, Samiha, okay? And don't include food or drink, just items, other items, maybe things for you, things for the house, that kind of thing. Can you remember the last 3 things you bought?
Yes. I bought cover mobile.
Okay, a mobile cover.
Mobile cover, yes, and notebook.
Okay.
And jacket.
Did you buy any of these items online?
Yes.
Yeah, one of them was online.
No.
Other things. I'm asking if you bought these things online or not. Did you buy them online?
Just a notebook.
You bought a notebook online?
Yes. Special notebook.
It's a special notebook? Where did you buy it from?
It's like a diary or.
And did you buy it from a Facebook page?
Yes, from the Facebook page.
Was it a Libyan page?
Yes.
Was it the same as the picture or not the same?
Yes, same.
The same. Are you happy about the quality? Do you like it? Do you think it's good?
Yes, it's very nice.
Was it expensive? Do you think it was expensive, or do you think the price is okay?
I think it's slightly expensive.
How much was it?
But specific.
How much was it?
110.
What? 110 for a notebook?
Yes.
So it's pretty expensive.
It's a big agenda, but it's very, very nice.
It's very pretty. You think it's pretty? It's nice.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna talk about collecting things. Do you collect notebooks, Samiha? Do you have lots of notebooks at home? Do you like to collect them?
Yes. I will take a picture for them and send to you to see.
Yes, please do that. I'm curious. Yeah, I'd like to see it. So this
Inshallah.
means you collect notebooks. Maybe
Yes.
that's why you like them. That's why.
Yes.
Okay, good. Actually, in today's reading, we're gonna talk a little bit about people who like to collect things. So we're gonna talk a bit about this. But before we read, I want you to make a guess. What do you think this word means? Memorabilia. Memorabilia. Who can make a guess? What does it mean? Even if you don't know what it is, who can guess what this means? The memorabilia business. When we say memorabilia, let's start with you, Samiha. What do you think? When we
Something
say
related to the memory, I think, but memory, yeah.
You're right. It is related to memory. So this part is correct. Yes.
Something from the past, maybe you collected, or
That's actually kind of correct. That's actually, yeah, sort of true. Yeah. So a memorabilia is collecting something that maybe belonged to someone else in the past. This is memorabilia. Okay. So now I'd like you to read this interesting article. So let me just scroll down the page. Take a few minutes. Yeah, just read the left side. You don't have to read the right side. Here, the left side. You can start here. A lot of people. And, you know, when you get to the end. هو هذا كله. Can everybody see the beginning of the article? A lot of people. Can you see this?
yes.
Okay. Yeah, and this is the ending. Can you see the ending? Passage. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the article. So when you're finished, just let me know, and then we'll talk a little bit about this.
I finished.
Okay, that's good. Anyone else finished? Sophia also, have you finished?
Yes.
Okay, so let's take a look at the questions. So here, let's answer the questions. So first question, it says, what is memorabilia? So memorabilia, we just talked about it. It's, you know, it's something that belongs maybe to someone else. This is the idea. It's something that belongs to someone famous, especially someone famous. This is, I think, the most important point. Because if it didn't belong to someone famous, then there's no point, right? So memorabilia is something usually related or connected to someone who's famous, especially if the person is dead, maybe, or something like that. All right, let's start with the question number 2. Whose memorabilia is very valuable? So from the article, what did they say? Whose memorabilia is very valuable?
Beatles or
That's correct. Yeah,
Yeah,
the Beatles. So the Beatles memorabilia is very valuable because the fans like it and they try to collect it. And the third question says, how much did someone pay for John Lennon's piano? How much did someone pay for the piano?
140,000 pounds.
Right. What do you think of this price, Selma? Do you think it's cheap or expensive for a piano?
I think expensive.
wish.
Me too.
Cheap.
You think it's cheap, Samiha?
Yes.
140,000 pounds?
Very cheap.
Yeah, very cheap.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I think the person who bought it thinks it's cheap too. Very interesting. Okay,
Oh,
and
piano.
it's only a piano, exactly. Why pay this much for a piano?
Yeah.
But do you know why? Because
Not a special. It's a special piano, not a normal piano.
yes, it's not a normal piano. This is the piano of John Lennon. John Lennon, I don't know if
Yeah.
anybody, do you know John Lennon, Selma?
No.
Okay, so John Lennon was, because he's dead, someone killed him. He was a member of the Beatles. It was a band in the 60s
Yeah.
and 70s, 60s and 70s. He was one of the famous band members. I think if you see his photo, let me show you a photo of him. Maybe you've seen him before. This is his photo. Can you see his photo? Oops, let me turn this. Oops. Can you see these photos?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is John Lennon. So they killed him, I think, in the 80s. So he's been dead a very long time ago. Okay, so let's get back. So this is John Lennon. All right, so let's check the next question. What is the next question? I think question number 4 now. Do people always pay a lot of do people always pay a lot for items of memorabilia? What do you think? Do they always pay a lot? Or not always a lot?
I think.
No.
What do you think?
Yes, I think.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because
What do you think, Sophia? Do you think memorabilia, let's read the question again. So the question says, do people always pay a lot for memorabilia? What do you think, Sophia? Do people always pay a lot for memorabilia or not always?
Not always.
Always?
Not always, no.
Not always?
Yes.
Can you give us an example?
Maybe expensive on the people, yeah. Last year.
No, the question says, is it always expensive to buy memorabilia or not always expensive?
No, not always. Not always expensive.
Where in the article does it say this?
Maybe like football below 100.
Yes. So autographs, the signature.
Yes, and become by 5.
Exactly. So this
Autographs, yeah.
so this means some memorabilia is not very expensive, right?
Yes.
Some of it is expensive, of course, but you know, not all of it. All right. So this is the first part of the question. Now, in the second part of the question, this is another guessing question. So here I'm just going to read the prices in this box. So we have £15,000, £154,000 and 492, £250,000, £650,000, £631,871, £2,600,000. So can you see all of these prices? I want you to guess, because these prices belong to these items. Can you see these items? This is the first one, the glove. Then we have the comics. Then we have this and this and this. All right. So I want you to read this. When you finish reading the first 3, and you can also make a few guesses about the price. But read first, okay? Just read this first, 1, 2, 3, and then we can check the other ones. Okay, have you finished the first 3 parts here? Let's move to the second.
Yeah.
So here we have the other two parts here. Okay, so now I want you to guess. Let's start with Michael Jackson's glove. How much do you think it sold? What's your guess? What do you think, Rashid? How much did it cost? Michael Jackson's glove. Any guesses? Selma, maybe you can make a guess. How much do you think it was sold? And also, if you could, what do you think, Selma?
154.
You think?
Thousand and yeah.
Okay. Do you agree, Samiha? Do you think this is how much it was sold? $154,492, or do you think maybe more expensive, cheaper?
Expensive.
You think more expensive than 150,000?
Yes, maybe 650.
650.
631.
Okay. What about the first edition, the first Batman story? How much do you think it was sold? What do you think, Sophia? Can you guess, or Samiha? For the comic, how much do you think the comic was sold? Because this is the first one.
100.
Yes.
145. 55.
Okay, Samiha thinks 154,000. Do you agree, Sophia? Do you think the same price, or more, or less? What do you think?
No, less, maybe 15,000.
Maybe 15. Okay. And what about the car? James Bond's car, the first James Bond car. How much do you think this was sold?
2 million.
2 million?
Yes, I think.
Do you agree, Selma? Do you think maybe the car is 2,600,000?
No, I think.
You think no?
Yeah, maybe 650 or 630.
Okay. And what about the poster for King Kong? So this poster was for the movie King Kong. How much do you think it was sold? The poster. Do you think it's 15, 250,000, 650,000?
15.
15, you think, Samiha?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe 150.
Maybe 150,000, you think, for the poster, Salma?
Yeah.
Okay. And the last one, the first edition of the Harry Potter book. And this one is signed by the author. So how much do you think it sold, this one? Who can make a guess? What do you think, Rashid? The first edition of Harry Potter, and with the signature of the author. What do you think, Rashid? From these prices, how much was it sold? Sophia, what do you think? Samiha?
I think 250.
250?
Maybe. Maybe more.
Maybe more. Okay, I think we have to listen.
15, I think.
15? You think 15, Salma?
Yeah.
But why do you think it's less than the others?
Maybe because now popular, you don't count to.
Sorry, maybe because?
Maybe because maybe we have a film for that.
Maybe because
you don't want to buy a book.
Yes, but which one is first, the book or the film?
Maybe I think the book.
The book was before the film. The
Yeah.
film came after the book, right?
Yeah.
But this book is signed by the author, the writer, J.K. Rowling. So it has her signature because Harry Potter was invented by J.K. Rowling, right? She was the one who wrote everything. You get the idea?
Yeah.
But you have a point. We still have the movies, so maybe not everyone wants to read the book because we have the films. Okay, so now let's do the listening. Alaikum salam, Suhaib. Okay, let's do the listening. Let's check. So we're gonna listen and we're gonna find out about the prices, about how much this memorabilia cost. So let's take a look. CD3, track 13.
Track 13.
This glove was worn by Michael Jackson in 1983 when he first moonwalked. It was sold in New York in 2009 for £250,000.
The first ever Batman story was in this 1939 comic. The comic was sold for £650,000 in February 2010. The previous record for a comic was £631,871. That was for a 1938 action comic with the first ever Superman story.
This Aston Martin DB5 was driven by Sean Connery in the 1964 James Bond film Goldfinger. It was sold for £2,600,000 in October 2010.
This poster was designed for the classic 1933 film King Kong, and it was sold in New York in 1997 for £154,492.
First edition Harry Potter books are now very valuable, particularly if they were signed by the author J.K. Rowling. A signed first edition copy of a Harry Potter book was sold for £15,000 in February 2010.
Okay, what do you think of the prices? Let's start with the glove. So the glove was £250,000, and the comic, she said 650,000, and the previous record was 63187. So 650,000, and here it's 631,871 or something. Was it 871? Whatever. Okay. Now, which of these numbers do you think are the most surprising? Or which one do you think is too...
James Bond car.
Do you think it's too much? What do you think? What do you think of the price, Sophia, of James Bond's car?
2 million.
£2,600,000. What do you think of this price? Is it a good price for the car, or...
No, too much.
It's too much for a car?
Yes.
But what about the comics? What about this comic? £650,000. What do you think of this for the comic?
All the things it's too much.
All of the things too much.
حتى فردة الجلافز هذه اللي
Yeah, it's £250,000 for for the gloves. Interesting. Okay, what about you, Selma? Which of these numbers was the most surprising? Was it the price of the gloves, the comic? Was it the car? What do you think?
I think it's okay.
It's okay? The prices are okay? But do you know what it means, 250,000 pounds?
Yeah,
Do you know how much that is in dinars?
I know, but
Yeah. And
I
what,
can't do anything.
sorry?
It's okay, maybe for Michael Jackson and very old.
Yes, because it's memorabilia of someone famous, yeah, so maybe that's the reason.
I didn't know who can buy it.
Some people buy these things. Some collectors, they like these things. For me, I think the most surprising one is the comic. Can you see this old comic?
Yeah,
This is 650,000. What do you think of that? 650,000 pounds. It's a lot, right?
yeah,
Yeah, so, you know, these are the prices of some memorabilia that is maybe, you know, special or belong to someone. So this is the idea. So now we completed this part. We did the listening, we checked the answers. Now I want to take you to the next question here. So let's see if you can remember. Who was John Lennon's piano bought by? Who can remember? Okay, I'll take you. Who was John Lennon's piano bought by?
By singer, I think.
But what's the name of a person? The person who...
George Mitchell.
Correct. George Michael. That's correct.
Michael.
Yeah. George Michael. So George Michael was the one who bought the piano. That's correct. Okay. So number 2. How much were the Beatles lyrics sold for? How much were they sold for, the Beatles lyrics?
maybe 800 and 10,000.
That's correct. Yeah, so these lyrics were bought for $810,000. That's correct. When was Michael Jackson's glove sold? When was it sold? When was it sold? So
2009.
Yes, 2009. It was sold in 2009. Who was the Aston Martin driven by? Who was the Aston Martin driven by? By who?
Connery.
Yes, Sean Connery.
Sean Connery.
Yes, Sean Connery was the first James Bond actor. He's the first one. He died last year. Died last year. All right. And the last question: Who was the Harry Potter book signed by? Signed by who?
By the author.
J.K.
Yeah, J.K. Rowling, the
J.K.
author.
Rowling.
Yeah, that's her name. The author, J.K. Rowling. Okay. All right. So these are the right answers for this question. Now, I want you to take a look at the grammar blocks here. So we want to talk about something called the passive. So we have the present simple passive and we have the past simple passive. But before I tell you what passive means, I want you to take a look at these two sentences. And I want one of you maybe to translate them. Okay, so Haib, would you like to read these two sentences in the box for us? And maybe after that, just translate them.
Active. Michael Jackson wore this glove.
Okay.
passive. This glove was worn by Michael Jackson.
Okay, is there a difference in the meaning, or is it the
Same
same thing? The same meaning?
Yes.
I think the same.
Okay, but what's the difference? If they are the same
Maybe,
meaning, what's the difference?
Maybe
Active,
the first talking about Michael Jackson, and the second talking about the glove.
Okay. But how? What do you mean exactly?
active subject subject في البداية والباسف subject في النهاية.
Okay. Okay, in Arabic, who can translate them? Selma, would you like to say the first one in Arabic and the second one in Arabic?
Okay. Like مايكل جاكسون مثلا لبس مثلا الجلاف، والتانية الجلاف لبسه مايكل جاكسون.
صح, that's correct. Okay, لكن I don't know, maybe there's Samiha, would you like to okay, so Selma is correct. ده رتب اللي هو بالدارج صح. But in بالفصحى how would you do it سميحة؟ لو ترجمناها بالفصحى كيف حيكون؟
الفصحى مايكل جاكسون لبس مش بالفصحى، هذه ما هي فصحى، لبس هذا الجلافز، وهذا الجلافز لبس
ايوه
لبس اللبس ولبسه، يعني هذا الفرق نحس فيه هنا.
هي هذه اصلا صح.
ارتدي.
مثلا الاول اللي هو ارتدى، مايكل جاكسون ارتدى، والثانيه ارتدي، ما اعرفش لو نستعمل فيها مضبوط. ارتدي صهيب بالفصحى تم ارتداؤه، ممكن تم ارتداؤه.
ارتداؤه من قبل مايكل جاكسون.
ايوه من قبل، تم ارتداؤه من قبل مايكل جاكسون. ما اعرفش لو في ارتدي في العربي ولا ممكن يطلع فيه، غير احنا ما مش عارفين. بس هذه الفكرة العامة مزبوط زي ما انتم درتوا، اللي هي لو بنديروها بالفصحى او بالعربي، اللي هي قصة كيف بيقولوا لها بالعربي؟ الضمير الغائب. يعني احيانا بامكاننا نقولوا هذا شو نقولوا له قوانت بالعربي؟ هذا القفاز تم ارتداؤه، وتقدر توقفي. يعني في الحقيقة نقدر نوقفه حتى بعد هنا يعني لو وقفنا هنا يعتبر جملة صحيحة. This glove was worn، تم ارتداء، من اللي لبسها مش معروف. to get the idea، وتقدروا تذكروا يعني. لكن صار زي عكس قلبنا ترتيب الجملة على بعضها. هي هذه الفكرة. to get the idea. So in question number 1 it says, what is the object of the active sentence؟ طبعا لما نقوله subject و object اللي هو المفعول به، and subject اللي هو بيكون الفاعل. Okay. So question number 1 it says, what is the object of the active sentence؟ اللي هو المثال الأول. Michael Jackson wore this glove. Glove, correct. And what is the subject of the passive sentence?
Michael Jackson.
Okay. Now, number 3, it says, in which sentence is the focus on the glove, and in which sentence is the focus on Michael Jackson?
Passive on
the
glove
for
and active Michael.
That's it. So the focus on the glove is in the passive, the second one, and the focus on Michael Jackson, it's the first one, the active, right?
Yes.
And the last question says, in which sentence do we use by to say who did the action?
Passive.
The passive, yeah. Sentence number 2, استعملنا فيها by. And the person who did the action is called the agent. Do you get the idea? So this means the subject هذا نقولها لما يبدأ active، لكن لما يبدأ passive عادة نسموه agent, the person who did the action. All right? So this is just a quick introduction. Now, in the second part, part B, it says, look at this sentence, then choose the correct words. So let's put this in a box. A signed first edition of a Harry Potter book was sold for £15,000. So it says here, we often use the passive when we know who did the action or when we don't know who did the action. When do we use the passive? When we know or when we don't know? What do you think? And in this example, do we know who bought the book or we don't know who bought the book?
No. We don't know.
That's correct. We don't know. In this example, a signed first edition copy of Harry Potter was sold for £15,000. Who bought it? Who sold it? We don't know.
Don't know.
All we know, it was sold.
If you know, you can add buy.
Yes. But it's not really important in the sentence. Do you get the idea? لأن في الخبر هنا ما يهمش من اللي باع ومن اللي اشتراه. يهمنا أن نباعه خلاص. تم بيعه خلاص. Do you get the idea? So here, sometimes when who did the action is not important, we use passive. We just talk about the action. We don't care about who did the action. It's not important for us. Do you get the idea? We're interested in the action itself. So they do this a lot. If you don't know who did the action, you can use the passive. All right. Now we have a few tips here. It says fill in the gaps with past participle and are. So you have two options to use to complete the gaps. Three options, and we also have were. So معناها عندنا ثلاث خيارات حنستعملهم. عندنا past participle, are, and were. But let's see the two examples. So the first one, it says to make the present simple passive, we use subject plus am or is or what else? Plus what? What do you think? And let's look at the examples to help us. Let me show you the examples this way. No, fish example. All right, so let's.
Or where?
But here, this is a present simple passive. What do you want to use in the present simple?
Are.
Are. So you can use the subject, is, or are plus?
Past participle.
Past participle.
Past participle.
That's right. And in the second one, what do we use?
Was or where.
That's it.
Plus past participle.
That's it. Now, last part before we check the summary ونفهموا القصة أكثر من الملخص. Let's do the last part here in part D. They want us to look at the questions we just covered in 3A. How do we make questions in the passive? So let's go back to question number 3 and let's take a look at the questions. So how can we make a question using the passive? Who can show me the parts of this sentence? What did we use?
Who was?
Question word.
Okay, so we need a question word.
Verb to be. And the past.
Okay, yes,
Subject.
correct.
Verb.
What's the form of the verb?
Past participle.
Yes, it's always past participle. Okay, and let's see if this is correct or not. Let's see if it's the same in number 2. So we have question word, we have verb to be, was or were, we have the subject اللي هو the Beatles lyrics, وعندنا past participle. Let's check one last time. So we have question word, we have the verb to be, was, Michael Jackson's glove, the subject, sold, past participle. So it's the same for all of them, right? So this is how we can make a question using the passive. So now that we finished this part, let's take a look at the summary and let's try to get the point they're trying to make. So page 148. Can you see this? Present simple passive and past simple passive. Can you see the summary here on the left side?
Yeah.
So let's take a look at the table. So here in this table, the subject is Michael Jackson. The subject is in the beginning and the object is in the end, right? So this is how we write all normal sentences, all regular active sentences. This is how we write them. We use a subject, verb, object. Okay? So for example, Ahmed had lunch. This is active. Now with the passive, it's the opposite, right? So we start, the subject of a passive sentence is the object of a regular sentence, of an active sentence. Do you see how it's the opposite? And the agent is in the end. يعني في الحقيقة التركيب الأصلي للباسيف اللي هو هذا بس. Can you see this? يعني عندك السبجكت وعندك الفيرب. اللي هو الايجنت هذا عادة اختياري إضافي، يعني يضيفوا فيه إضافة. But you don't always have to use it. This is the idea. All right, so this means in the active sentence, the focus is on the person or the thing doing the action. In the passive, the focus is on the person or the thing that the action happened to. Then we have the object of the sentence. The glove becomes the subject of the passive sentence. يعني اللي كانت مفعول به في الأكتف حتصبح لنا هي الفاعل، هي السبجكت في الباسيف. بتتغير. Do you get the idea? In passive sentences we can use by اللي هو agent to say who did this. The passive نستعمل فيه when we don't know. How to make passive اللي هو هذا جاوبناه حتى هو. The subject am is are plus past participle هذا في passive. Thousands of items are bought and sold every day. And Beatles memorabilia is collected by fans all over the world. Okay, I have a question here. Can you see these two examples? Who buys and sells the items? Who can tell me who buys them? Do we know who buys these items?
No.
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 Do we care? Do we care who buys the items?
No.
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 We don't care. We don't know, we don't care. Okay? We're only interested that this happens. يهمنا الحدث بس. أن آلاف الitems تباع وتشترى كل يوم. من اللي يبيع من يشي not important for us. The same thing here. Beatles memorabilia is collected by fans all over the world. in this sentence, do we know or we don't know?
No.
Who collects it? Do we know or not?
We know.
We know.
No,
We
the fans.
know by fans. But is it important in the sentence? Is it the focus of the sentence?
No.
No, it's not the focus. لأن لو كانت الفوكس لو كانوا كتبوا fans لو بدوا بها من الأول لو قالوا لك fans collect Beatles memorabilia all over the world لو داروها active يعني هذا لو بنقلبوه للactive المعنى حيقعد في المجمل نفس المعنى بس التركيز حيختلف. So if we change this sentence into active, we can say fans all over the world collect Beatles memorabilia. Do you see this sentence? So in this sentence, the focus is on the fans. But in the passive sentence, the focus is on the Beatles memorabilia. ولو حتى قررنا النحو by fans نلغاها, the sentence is still correct في الباسيف. يعني we can say Beatles memorabilia is collected all over the world. If you say it like this, it's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it. You get the idea. But in an active sentence, you cannot do that. ما نقدروش نقولوا collect Beatles memorabilia, the world collect. Do you get the idea? ما نقدروش نحاها في الactive. But in the passive we can. So this is the idea. Okay. And the last part here we have the questions. هذا اللي درناه قلنا اتفقنا question word plus verb to be plus subject plus past participle. هذا ثابت في كل ال questions. Yeah, that's all. هذا المقدمة الأولى لموضوع ال passive. Now, if we do a few exercises, I think you'll get the point. It'll be easy and clear. So first of all, let me just play a few sentences so you can listen to how they're pronounced, and after that we can do the exercise. So let's listen.
Thousands of items are bought and sold every day.
Beatles memorabilia is collected by fans all over the world.
This glove was worn by Michael Jackson.
It was sold in New York in 2009.
This car was driven by Sean Connery.
This poster was designed for the film King Kong.
These books were signed by J.K. Rowling.
Okay, so these are a few examples using the passive. Now we're going to go back to the article again, but this time we want to underline all the passive verb forms. So if you find a passive verb form, just tell me about it so we can underline it. Let's start from the beginning. So, and we need to find both types of passive. So present simple passive, past simple passive. Can you find them? What do you think, Sophia?
What's your question?
So the question is about passive. Can you find passive examples in the article?
Yes. Memorabilia is a big business and thousands of items are bought and sold every day.
Okay, let's take a look. Let me underline it for you. Can you repeat it again, please?
Memorabilia is a big business and thousands of items are bought and sold every day.
But where is it exactly? Where is the passive?
Items are bought and sold.
Items are bought and sold.
Subject to yes.
Are bought.
Be and past participle.
Items are bought and sold. Okay, ننزل الصفحة شوية باش تبان حتى بالفوق. Can you see the page now, Samiha? Can you see it?
No.
No?
I will leave and send again.
Yeah.
I think I have a problem. Okay.
Okay, Rashid, can you find any other examples of passive in this article? Any other ones? Can you find any other ones here? You can look for either past simple passive or present simple passive. Both. You can look for both of them. Okay, what about you, Samiha? Can you find any passives in this in the article?
Passive. This Aston Martin DB5 was driven by Sean Connery.
You mean on the right side? That's actually correct. Was driven. Okay. Selma, can you find any passives? On the right or the left? Both are okay. You can look anywhere. What do you think? Can you find any? Until now we found two, but actually the page is full of different passives. Can you find other ones, Safiya and Samiha? Rashid, can you find other passives? You can look at the left side and the right side. What if we start from the beginning of the article? Because if we start from the beginning, we can find a few weathers. Who can find passive in the beginning?
A lot of people collect texts that were owned or signed by famous.
But where is it exactly, the passive? Which part?
A passive were owned.
That's correct. Okay, what else?
Lino's white piano was sold for.
Correct. Was sold, correct. What else?
Was bought by the singer.
All right, that's correct. Was bought.
And the day in the life were bought in the USA.
Were bought. Another passive. Mhm.
Just
Correct. This is all of it on the left side. But on the right side, we have a lot, right? Was sold, was driven, was sold, was designed, was sold. Oh no, we're assigned تحت شوية. Yeah, على اليمين ما زال في active يعني. بس وصلت لكم الفكرة. All right, so this is a quick exercise. رقم 6. We just wanted you to find the different passives. So I can present passive, present simple passive, past simple passive, and it's okay. Okay, now this question is nice. I like this question. So in this question, what we want to do is we want to choose passive or active. Okay, so what you need to do is you have to decide هل حتستعملوا passive هل حتستعملوا active. وطبعا هذا ليه علاقة بالمعنى اللي بتحاولوا توصلوه. Because sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. Do you get my point? So I'm going to give you a few minutes. Take a few minutes. Read this whole article. It's not an article, it's a paragraph. But the question is, you have to decide when to use active and when to use passive. والفعل هم عاطينه لكم في البراكت يعني موجود عندكم بين الأقواس. This is the verb you have. It's up to you. Is it passive? Is it active? You need to think about this, okay? I'm going to give you a few minutes. When you're done, just let me know and we can check your answers together. We can check our answers together. Come on, listen. Okay, so I'll help you check your answers, okay? So take your time and you can start. Okay, has anyone finished? Have you finished, Samiha? Or not yet?
Not yet.
Okay. Salma finished? Okay, take your time. Okay. Sophia, have you finished?
Yes.
All right, excellent. Okay, now let's take a look at your answers. Let's see. Let's see what you answered. So let's divide it maybe. Okay, so Samiha, you can do the first part. Let's divide it into 3 parts. Okay, so Samiha, you can do the first part. And maybe Selma can do the second part. And the last one, Sophia can do it. Okay, so you can start, Samiha.
Okay. Pierre Omidi started eBay in his apartment in 1995. At that time, his website was called Auction Web, but he was changed the name to eBay in 1997. On its first day, Auction Web wasn't visited by a single person, but now eBay is used by over 135 million people.
Okay. Can you repeat the last part?
But now eBay is used by over 135 million people.
Okay. All right. Now let's see. Selma, would you like to continue? And they, number 6 here. Yeah. What did you answer for number 6?
And they are spent about 85,000 minutes in a typical year, over 2 million 2 million
items. 2 million items. The verb is list. So what do you want to do to the verb? Do you want to use active or do you want to use passive?
Active.
Okay. So if you want to use active, just put it زي ما هي يعني.
List. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. List on eBay.
Okay.
On eBay, and about 500,000 people make their living just by selling things on website. People sometimes bought or sold very strange things.
Okay. All right, Sophia, what about you? Can you finish what's left of the paragraph? So you can start from here. One person
bought $514 for a piece of chewing gum.
Excuse me, one person?
Bought.
Okay, but here we don't have bought, we have pay. The verb is pay.
Oh.
You have to use the same verb in the brackets. وبعدين انت يبدا عندك الخيار اذا بدي ري active باهي اذا بدي ري passive باهي, it's up to you.
Yes. Okay, babe.
Okay. Okay.
$514 for a piece of chewing gum that chewed by Britney Spears.
Okay.
Another person bought a Russian submarine on eBay for $1.
1 million.
Yes, 1 million. 1.5 million, but nobody bought it.
Okay. And the last one?
And an Australian even trying to sell New Zealand.
Trying?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, now let me see. Okay, so now we have, so from 14, your answer, all of you together is, let me write your mark. So this is your mark. So on your exam, your passive exam, you got 6 from 14. So how many mistakes do we have? We got 6 from 14.
I think all my answers are
yeah, كنا اسقطنا المرة هذه كنا بس عادي لأن الموضوع جديد ويلخبط يبي شوية تركيز. So okay, let's start from the beginning. Okay, let's see نحاول نفهم قصتهم هيسهل علينا. Okay, let's start from the beginning. So here, Pierre Omidyar started eBay in his apartment in 1995. At that time, his website was called Auction Web. Is this correct? Was called? At that time, his website was called Auction Web. What do you think? I'm not saying, and I'm not saying it's wrong. And I نسيت بس.
I think it's right.
Yes, correct.
It's correct. But why is it correct?
Was called
Subject or verb to be وال
تمام بس علاش الباسيف هنا يستعمل؟ علاش ما قلناش called؟ علاش ما قلناش at that time his website called auction web؟ Excuse me. علاش ما قلناش called؟ طولك شو السبب؟ السبب انه مش مذكور من اللي سماها اصلا. We don't know who called it. من اللي سمى الموقع باسمه مش معروف ومش مهم لينا. اللي نعرفوه انه كان مديروه بالفصحى يعني كان يسمى وكان يطلق عليه. من اللي اطلقه ولا من اللي سماه ما نعرفوش وما يهمناش. You get the idea?
yes.
لكن بعد شنو قال؟ But he was changed the name to eBay in 1997.
Wrong. He changed.
That's correct. هذه غلط. But why? علاش نديرو changed?
We know who changed.
Yes, he. هنا المرة هذه تم ذكره من اللي غير. صح ولا؟ But he changed. So we know the subject. معروف الفاعل اللي دار الفعل. We know him. We know it's he. فهنا ما عادش يمشي الحال إن نديرو passive. Okay, so now this is correct. On its first day, Auction Web wasn't visited by a single person. Is this correct?
Incorrect.
What do you think, Sana? Correct?
I think it's correct.
What do you think, Safia? Correct or not correct?
هي correct مش correct لأنه قاعد single person هو صح ما لا correct.
It's correct. لأن حتى الصيغة عندك by a single person. يعني لو من ترجموها كأنها بتجي في يومه الأول
yes.
لم يتم زيارته
زارش.
yes. حتى من شخص واحد لم يقم بزيارته. هذه الفكرة. All right. But now eBay is used by over. Is this correct? Is used?
No.
What's the right answer?
Using.
Can we use ing in passive or in active?
No.
No.
That's correct.
It's correct, but why? Why is it correct?
It's
no.
Subject.
Passive.
It's passive.
Yeah.
لأن مذكور بعدها الagent. بالضبط. الagent اللي يستعمل في الإيباي مذكورين في الآخر. By over 135 million people. هذا اللي يستعملوا فيه.
And we use is because he said no.
No, exactly. It's present. It's present simple passive. So this is correct. Okay, خلنا نحو الخط هذا. بس ما زال مستمرين في نفس الجملة تبعي. So eBay is used by over 135 million people and they are spent about $85,000 a minute.
Correct.
Is this correct?
No, where?
True.
They were spent, is that correct?
And correct are spent.
Yes,
we
correct.
know who is
because it's active.
ويعني لو بالفصحى تو نترجم لك نقول لك اي باي يتم استعماله من قبل 135 مليون شخص ويتم صرفهم حوالي
Yeah.
5 يعني كأنها قلت الأشخاص هم اللي يتم صرفهم. هل الأشخاص ينصرفوا؟ They are
No.
spent. هل نقدر نصرف الناس؟
No.
Can we spend
They
people?
spend.
Again.
They spend.
They spent.
Without I.
Okay. A minute. هنا عندك a minute بعدها. So is this in the past? Is this in the, what is this when we say? Again, Selma.
Spend.
Spend. Present simple. This is present simple active. Present simple عادي.
Yes, I said spend, not spent.
No, you said spent with a T.
No, I swear, I swear, I
Okay.
spend without I. They spend about.
Spend ولا spent?
With D. Spend.
With D. Okay. كنت نسمع فيك تقولي فيها بالتي. قلتي من غير نحسب خليتها الباقي. Yeah, present simple. Present simple عادي. They spend. نتكلموا تو في الهابت بتاعهم الناس هم. 135 مليون هادو كل دقيقة يصرفوا في المبلغ هذا. You get the idea? يعني شيء متكرر. It's repeated. So if you talk about something which is repeated, present simple. Active طبعا. Okay. In a typical year, من الأول أعطاك إشارة. Typical year. You know, so this is repeated. Typical سنة اعتيادية. Over 2 million items حاجة list on eBay. And about 500,000 people make their livings. Okay. So number 7, is it correct or not correct?
Not correct, I think.
But you're right, but why?
Are listed maybe.
That's right, but why?
We're talking about over 2 million items.
Does it say who lists these items? Do we know who lists? هل نعرفوا من اللي يحط فيهم الitem? We don't know. We don't care. Do you get the idea? اللي نبغى نوضحوا لنا يتم عرضهم يعني أكثر من 2 million item يتم إدراجهم على الصفحة. من اللي يدرج فيهم؟ أكيد الزبائن يعني والباعة من بيدرجهم. But it's not important. The number is important for us. الفاكت يعني كفاكت مهم. اللي يدير فيه مش مهم. All right? And about 500,000 people make their living. Is this correct? Make their living?
Are made.
Are made. يعني كأن احنا بنقولوا sorry الصفحة اللي قبلها. لو بنديروا are made يعني 500,000 شخص يتم صناعتهم.
Okay. Where?
لو قلنا were made تم صناعتهم. 500,000 شخص تم صناعتهم. Make صح. It's correct. لأن احنا بنقولوا أن الناس ما يشتغلوا صح ولا؟ بنقولوا أن these 2 million, these 5,000 people make their living. Make their living. So make their living is another way for saying work. So if I ask you a question, how do you make your living? I'm an engineer. I'm a teacher. I'm a doctor. I'm a driver. This is how you make your living. It means how you make money. Do you get the idea?
Yes.
So it's correct. By selling things on the website, full stop. People sometimes bought or sold very strange things. Is it correct? Bought?
Yes, bought or sold.
But are bought يعني الأشخاص يتم شرائهم وبيعهم شو اسمه شو يقولوا فيهم متاجرة بالبشر يعني
لا لا
بيع
باي معناها تقعد زي ما هي باي أند سيل.
اوكي تو انت جاوبتي نص السؤال صح، يعني active ما نبوش passive يعني. صح، لأن عندنا السبجكت واضح people.
sometimes
عندنا sometimes is من ال adverbs of frequency. هل can we use adverbs of frequency to talk about something in the past? Sometimes I closed. نقدروا في الحاجات المتكررة، هو مش ما نقدروش يمشي حالهم. لكن هنا أنا أحسن.
by or sell.
Yes, present simple is better, right?
Yes.
Because we're still talking about a page that's open. The page hasn't closed. You get the idea. It's still active. The page قاعدة تخدم eBay ما تسكرتش. Okay, so people sometimes buy or sell very strange things. Okay. So بنخش في حاجة specific. One person. So what's the answer here? For a piece of chewing gum that حاجة Britney Spears. فهذه تو يحكينا على حادثة واحدة. معناها مش حتكون habit. So what do you think? What do you think?
Paid.
Correct. Active وفي ال past simple. صح. Paid. Okay. How much did he pay? He paid $154 for what?
For a chewing gum.
That
was chewed, I think.
That's correct.
Chewed.
Was chewed. علاش؟ لأن مذكور من اللي مدخل المستكة. Right?
Yes.
By Britney Spears. She was the one who chewed it. فلو من جراء ترجمة فصحى يعني كأن شخص دفع كذا لقطعة تم مدغها من قبل بريتني سبيرز. دي get the idea. الباسيف يعني القاعدة هذه من القواعد اللي رغم أنها ضد الترجمة بصفة عامة، لكن من القواعد اللي يمشي حالها بالترجمة هذه بالذات في الأول لما في شوية لخبطة. أوكي تمام. Was chewed by Britney Spears. Full stop. نقطة. Another person put a Russian submarine on eBay for 1 million people, but nobody bought it. Is this correct? Nobody bought it?
Buy it, not bought it.
لكن هل ندو احنا في هل كل يوم شخص بيحط غواصة على الاي باي ولا مش كل يوم الشيء هذا يصير؟
Nobody bought it.
Nobody bought it is correct. بصفة عامة الحوادث الآحاد هذه الفردية دائما يمشوا للباست. الحاجة اللي تصير مرة أو يدوي لك على حادثة حوادث يعني فردية دائما بتكون في الباست لأنها صارت خلاص. Somebody did something. It's not a habit. It's not a routine. It's not repeated. We cannot use the present to talk about it. We have to use the past. Okay. And an Australian even حاجة to sell New Zealand. حتى هي حادثة فردية. المقطع الأخير كله يتكلم عن حوادث فردية. Right. Exactly. So we need to use the active لأن مذكور السبجكت فاعل مذكور اللي هو an Australian شخص أسترالي tried to sell New Zealand. Now all of our answers are correct. Do you get the idea? Do you get how it works?
Yes.
So you need to pay attention. وعندنا احنا طبعا مشكلة ثانية أغلب المتكلمين باللغة العربية عندنا مشكلة العويصة هذه اللي هي الفول ستوب ما نشوفوش فيه. كل المتكلمين العرب ما يشوفوش في الفول ستوب. هذه زي كرونيك إلنس عندنا. لأن احنا ما نركزوش ما لهاش أهمية في الحقيقة في اللغة العربية.
We should understand the meaning of the sentences, make it very easy to answer them.
Yeah, but in English they're very very important. لأن لو غابت عليكم هذه الجرامر كلها حيخش بعضها. ماش هتعرفوا تفصلوا الجملة هذه من هذه وبتنقرا لكم مع بعض وبيمشي دماغكم في مكان ثاني. Very very important في تمارين الreading والwriting. You have to be careful with the full stops, because after every full stop there's a new idea. In English this is the system they use to write. After every full stop a new idea. ولو تلاحظوا كل مرة يوقف من بعد الفول ستوب يفتح لك فكرة ثانية. ما يتكلموش هيك زي نحن هيك مشرطم. They don't do that in English. يعني لاحظوا الفكرة الأولى مفصولة على اللي بعدها. Pierre Omidar started eBay in his apartment in 1995. Full stop. هذه الفكرة كملناها على اللي بعد. At that time تو هذه تعتبر linker يقولوا لهم linking phrases. At that time شنو at that time؟ هذه تربط لك باللي قبلها 1995. His website was called كذا كذا comma قاعدين في نفس السطر ما وقفناه. But he changed the name to eBay in 1995. كملت الفكرة هذه وهكذا. So it's very important. You need to pay attention to this. Okay, so let's check our last exercise here. But before we check it, there's a nice question here. I want your opinion. So it says, which of this information do you think is the most surprising? What about you, Sophia? What do you think? The most surprising information from this story about eBay. For you, what was the most surprising thing?
About the story of eBay, history of eBay.
Yeah, this is the history of eBay.
All
yeah.
about, yes.
But which so you were surprised by all of it?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. What about you, Samiha? Is there something that you found surprising or strange about the story?
Yes, maybe about Australian people.
What about them?
Try to sell this. Why?
I think it was done like a joke, because they're neighbors, Australians and New Zealanders, they're neighbors. So I think they always make fun of each other. It's a bit like what we do with Tunisians. You know, we have a strange relationship with Tunisians. We make fun of them, they make fun of us. It's a bit like this. So I think I agree with you. I think it's very funny. They tried to sell it like it's theirs, as if they own it.
If it's available, I want to
you want to buy
sell
it.
a lot.
Yeah. I like the idea.
A lot of places, a lot of people.
Yeah, I think we need to sell a lot of things in Libya should be sold. We can start with our government and politicians. We can sell them on eBay. I don't know if anybody would buy them.
And I think nobody
would buy them. But what about the person who bought the chewing gum?
Yes, it's very strange.
It's also very weird, right? And he paid quite a lot. He paid 514. The problem is, how can we confirm this was chewed by Britney Spears? This is my question. Do we have like a saliva DNA test, PCR or something?
Maybe DNA, maybe.
Yeah, we need to prove it. Maybe if we're 100% sure this is her chewing gum. I don't know. Maybe for a Britney Spears fan, it makes sense. If he's a fan and he can confirm that she actually chewed it. ممكن يعني مستاهل.
I'm sure he is psychiatric. Not a normal person.
Not a normal person, yeah. Some fans are crazy. Anyways, now, okay, let's take a look at this one. So here it says verbs that we often use in the passive. So this list of verbs are commonly used with the passive. يعني يستعملوا فيهم بكثرة. طبعا هذه لها علاقة حتى بطبيعة الفعل. Because when you use these verbs, usually it's not important who did the action, but it's important what action was done. All right. So let me just read them. Write, manufacture, publish, invent, paint, grow, direct, build, and make. So which of these verbs are new? Can you see any new verbs here in this box? Any verbs that are not clear, maybe?
The word next
Next to write.
invent.
Invent.
Yeah.
Invent.
No, next to invent.
Publish.
Yeah.
Publish. Publish is like when you write a book, like the author J.K. Rowling, when she finished writing Harry Potter, she published it, so everybody can read it.
Yeah.
In Arabic, what is it? Publish.
يمكن يصدر.
Yeah, تصدير.
نطلع.
نشر أكثر يمشي معنا. نشر الكتاب يعني. Publish. ولا علاقة ب public. هو حاجة العامة، النشر للعامة. Okay, manufacture. Does everybody know what it means? Manufacture. What does it mean, Sophia, when we say manufacture?
Maybe صنعت or
Correct. Correct. Manufacture is like make in a factory. That's right. Okay, so Mana, so all of you know the verbs. Great. Now, I want you to think of a few of these verbs that we can use in the second exercise below. So here, for example, we can say, my favorite book by... So, can we use some verbs here?
Right.
تمام ولما
wrote.
بتولي passive شو بتولي؟
wrote.
We need the past participle, not the past. Right? Wrote. اللي بعدهم
written.
written. تمام. So how do we say it's my favorite book?
Written.
I think you forgot something.
Was written.
Was written. Was written.
Right. Was written by, and you can, let's give it a name. Do you know any author you like?
It's Jackson Brown.
H. Jackson Brown?
Yes.
Okay, so let's write this author. For example. Okay, very nice. My mobile phone
made in China.
You forgot something before made.
Was made.
Oh, and we don't have made here. معنا صحراء made.
make هي.
لا ندوي أقرب حاجة لميك في الصندوق شنو هي؟
Manufacture.
Okay, and how do we change it to the passive?
Manufactured.
Is manufactured in مثلا China ولا Korea ولا Japan على حسب. Okay, why is it better to say is manufactured? معناه يمشي حالها حتى was manufactured. زوز يمشوا صح للعلم but why? علاش نقدر نقولوا my phone is manufactured in China and نقدر نقولوا my phone was manufactured in China? What do you think?
إنه مازال يصنعوا فيه.
Yes, هذه الفكرة. أنا ما وقفش تصنيع، قاعد المصنع مفتوح يشتغل. ولو بتتكلمي على تليفونك في حد ذاته بروحه, we can say was manufactured. فيمشي الحال الاثنين. All right, number 3, my favorite film
Was directed.
Was directed. Correct. By معناه نبغى اسم مخرج. Do you know any directors, any names?
Pierre Mollet.
Okay. Yeah. I don't think this spelling is correct. Okay, number 4. My house flat.
Was built.
What's the
Not
past
work.
participle? Was
Built.
صح. أيوة. Built.
Built, yes,
Was
yes.
built about how many years
5 years ago. 5 years ago.
مثلا 5 years ago. Okay, last one. My favorite shoes.
Made.
وش نديرو قبلها؟
Was made.
Was made.
Shoes is plural.
Are made.
Where?
Were made.
Where?
Yeah, were made in. Where were they made? In which country?
Italy.
Italy, for example. So ملخص الاكسرسايز هذا يبوا ينبهونا ان في افعال they work with the passive better زي الافعال هذه. Do you get the idea؟ لان في
صنعت.
yes صنعت كتبت تم اخراجه you know تم اختراعه نشر تم بناؤه يعني يمشوا مع الغايب اكثر ما يهمناش مني دار الشيء بقدر أن الشيء اندار هي هذه الفكرة. Anyways, this is the passive. My advice is to do the workbook as soon as possible so you can get the idea and don't forget it because it's still a new topic. It needs a little bit of paying attention. And this is this topic will be repeated in intermediate in more detail. Anyways, this is our next lesson. We're going to talk about shopping and the history of shopping. And we're going to use used to talk about the past habits using used to. So this is our focus for next lesson. Okay, so that's all for tonight. Thank you for your time. I'll see you again on Thursday.
Thank you.
You're
Good
welcome.
night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.